Week 2 is here, and that means we have more NFL matchup picks to make. Week 1, we didn't do bad at all, especially for it being week 1, not knowing who's going to be good and what teams are going to come out with. So here are our week 1 picks. We went 11-5, so we got 11 of our picks right and 5 of them wrong. We will list our week 2 picks here as we go through them. So let's get into it. Washington, Green Bay on Thursday Night Football. What a game. What a matchup on paper to have. In my opinion, Thursday Night Football games aren't always the greatest due to it just being a short week and offenses kind of struggling due to the lack of practice. This is a good one to have on paper. We'll see if it turns out to actually be a good game. 2 playoff teams, Washington and Green Bay, going at it on Thursday Night Football. Green Bay is minus 3.5 with an over-under of 48.5. So expecting a lot of points here are the sports books. Green Bay is favored. The 3.5 line is a good one. I agree. I've got the Packers winning. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. Cincinnati should have lost last week's game. Cleveland beat themselves, and the Bengals did not look good. But this is their home opener. They're going up against the Jaguars, who in their own right didn't look like anything special. And fun fact here, if you're into this stuff, Bengals are wearing their alternate orange uniforms. So that'll be cool. I like when teams wear their alternate uniforms, and I kind of follow pages that, let you know what teams are going to be wearing their uniform for the week. And as of right now, as of this recording, the Bengals are wearing their orange alternate tops. So a little cool fun fact there. I got the Bengals winning. They're going to be looking good. They're going to be playing good. And they're going to get the win. New York, Dallas. Giants look like one of the bottom tier teams in the league. Nothing we didn't expect. Dallas, they looked good before that weather delay. I expect them to get the win here in their home opener. Go ahead and put the Cowboys in for that. Chicago, Detroit. Chicago, they looked all over the place. They looked really good at times, and they looked like a completely different team at times. Caleb Williams still has accuracy and decision-making issues. I think Detroit, they bounce back. I don't think they have 2 bad weeks in a row under Dan Campbell. They are favored, and I agree. Lions, if I can spell, with the win. Los Angeles, Tennessee. This one's an interesting one. The Titans played the Broncos a lot tighter than a lot of people expected. Denver was almost a double-digit point favorite, and Tennessee kept it close pretty much the whole game. Denver stretched it out to a 7+ point lead late in the fourth quarter. This is a West Coast team traveling all the way to the East Coast for that 10 a.m. kickoff. Sometimes they struggle in those, but I believe Sean McVay has a good record in those early kickoffs. And the bettors think so as well with minus 8.5. We will set in the Rams. New England, Miami. Miami looked like the worst team in the NFL last week. Tua probably had his worst game ever. He just didn't look like he was an NFL quarterback. New England struggled against the Raiders, of all teams, who no one should struggle against them. Miami is just barely favored. I can see this one going both ways. But I just feel like the Dolphins, they're going to bounce back. And they're going to get the win at home. San Francisco, New Orleans. A little news thing here. Purdy looks like he's on his way out. Way out as in being not playing in this game. He apparently picked up an injury in the Seattle game. And it says he can miss multiple weeks and that he's trending towards not playing in this game. Now, I don't know if this minus 2.5 line has that considered, but Mac Jones is their backup. He's a decent backup. He can, manage the game and possibly get you a win. But the unwritten rule, you got to choose one upset a week. This is our upset. This is a good chance for it. I think New Orleans, who played not bad in their game last week and had a chance to tie it at the end. At home, I think the Saints get this win. Speaking of teams that had a really good game, Buffalo and New York. Both teams looked really good on offense. Both games the teams played in were an absolute shootout. I think in this one, it could go either way. I don't like the -6.5 line. On the road, -6.5 against that Jets team that looked the way they did. Jets could keep this closer than the line is showing here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they picked up the win. Buffalo's defense doesn't look like they're going to be able to stop anybody. But it is Josh Allen. It is the Bills. I'm taking them for the win. Seattle, Pittsburgh, two different teams in week one. Seattle struggled offensively. Pittsburgh was on fire offensively. It is the Steelers' home opener. Both teams have a good defense. Pittsburgh is favored. And I am in agreement. Steelers with the win. No upset happening here, despite the huge line. -11.5 is a rare line to have in the NFL. Usually that's like a college line where they have like -40s and stuff. A -11.5 is a very large line for NFL teams. This is a divisional, and for a divisional game. Divisional game -11.5. I understand the bet places are seeing how dominant Baltimore was on offense. And they're saying Cleveland does not keep up with that, which I agree. But these divisional games, you never know what's going to happen. I tell you. And -11.5, if I were a bettor, I'd bet Cleveland to cover. I don't think they lose by more than 11. That's a big line for the NFL. Any given Sunday, but I got the Ravens winning. They're going to want to really come out and win big after that loss to Buffalo. Denver, Indy. Indy looked really good against Miami. I have a feeling that was more Miami than it was Indianapolis. Denver is a better team. They are on the road. Any given Sunday, they're barely favored at -1.5. But I think the Broncos, who didn't play well in week one, and the Colts did, but I think the Broncos bounce back and they have a better game and they get the win against Daniel Jones and the Colts. Carolina, Arizona, both teams did not play well week one either. Panthers did have that weather delay, so maybe that has something to do with it, of them getting in a rhythm. Cardinals, apparently Kyler Murray was dealing with an illness, so that could have contributed to his bad play. Cardinals are -6.5 favored. Again, I think too large of a line here. I am going to pick the Cardinals, although I can see this going either way. But I'm going to go with the home team. Super Bowl rematch in week 2. Philly, Kansas City. Philly is just barely favored. A lot of -1.5s for teams this week, being the road team. Miami, they are the home team, but they're 1.5. Denver's 1.5. Philly's 1.5. So a popular line to have for this week. Like I said, Super Bowl rematch. Kansas City is so decimated at wide receiver on offense. I don't see how they can keep up with Philly. I got the Eagles winning this one, but I could see Mahomes coming out and just taking this one and not letting his team fall to 0-2. Atlanta, Minnesota. This is a game that I'm interested in. Interested to watch, but also I think this one could go either way. I think the Falcons could go into Minnesota and get the win. I know the Minnesota has a really good defense, and McCarthy played a lot better in that second half. But I have a feeling that Atlanta's going to go in and they're going to beat the Vikings. We don't want to go all just with the betting lines here and pick every team that's favored, because that's no fun. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think they can come into Minnesota in prime time, and I think they can get the win and avoid going 0-2. Some of these teams that are 0-1, they know it's crucial not to go 0-2. So they'll come out with a little more, fire, and come out with a little more effort and energy than these 1-0 teams do, because they're at 1-0. Not necessarily they're taking their foot off the gas pedal, but these 0-1 teams are going to be pressing a little harder, because falling to 0-2 is not a good thing for your playoff odds. Moving on to the Monday night doubleheader. Don't know why they do these doubleheaders on Monday night, because for fantasy purposes, it's hard to watch both games. But it's what we have. Tampa Bay, Houston, our first game. Tampa didn't look too good on offense. Houston didn't look too good either. But the Texans home opener, I think they get it done, and they get the win on Monday night in H-Town. Los Angeles and Vegas, our last one. This one's an easy Chargers. They looked so good in week 1. Vegas didn't. Chargers with the win on Monday night. And that rounds out our week 2 picks. Last week went 11-5. We'll try to replicate that or do even better. I'm feeling a little bit better about our picks this week than last week's. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and enjoy the weekend of football. I'll see you guys later.